Good morning, Board of Advisors. Thank you for being with us today. My name is Dusty. I'm the CEO of 540 MGMT, and today I have my entire executive team with me, including Head of Recruitment, Shruti, our CFO, Susan, and also our COO, Ajana. Right now, we're doing really well with our technology. We have a huge amount of traction in the industry with large players like Ford and GM and Tesla. We think our technology could even further more in the next couple months to gain more traction from VCs who could potentially give us more investment in the upcoming months. Unfortunately, our CTO, Chris, is looking to get married and also kind of divorcing us at the same time. The thing is, he's got a lot of personal investment happening with his own personal life, and he decided to leave the company. We respect his decision, and we want to move forward with the process and bring on a new talent. So without further ado, let me hand it off to Shruti, who's going to talk a little bit about the decision behind it, why we're letting him go, and who we're going to bring on next. Okay?
Sure. Thank you, Dusty. Good morning, Board of Advisors. So as Dusty pointed out, that unfortunately our long-term co-founder, Chris, has decided to part ways with us. He has decided to move on to more stable ventures in life and decided to get married. And we completely respect his decision. And therefore, we would have to let him go. Well, it was a very difficult decision for us to make. And when we all sat down and thought about it, the only thing that urged us to move forward in this direction was that we realized that if Chris has brought this point up today, these problems may arise again in the future. And we do not want to put our company through this process of uncertainty again of whether Chris would stay with us or would move on. So that's why we've decided to handle it once and for all and decided to let him go. But fortunately for all of us, all this is happening on a very good note. So he has decided to part ways with us amicably, and we have found just the right replacement for Chris in the technical department. The new candidate that we've been interacting with for some time now, his name is Mark, and he's a fresh college graduate. He holds 3 PhD degrees in computer science, mechanical engineering, and literature. Like, to say the least, his technical expertise are completely in line with the role that he is required to perform in this company, and we believe that he would be an ideal fit. But the only thing that we are a little uncertain about is Mark's managerial abilities. As I pointed out, he recently left the university and doesn't have a lot of industry experience, so we're still a little skeptical about his team handling and people handling skills. So that's why we've decided to bring him in the team for now, monitor his progress, how he handles various projects and situations in the company, and from there on see on what level we can place him correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and exactly. And so that's kind of the decision we've made already with the executive team. So why don't we let you talk a little bit about how we're going to move on from an executional perspective to bring on Mark and to let Chris leave the company.
Okay. When we're trying to transition between one person to another, when you're trying in a big company, what we're trying to do is ensure that the knowledge is completely transferred. So one of the first things that we will be doing is ensuring that Chris manages to explain everything that is going to happen to Mark and have him completely on board technically. It is Chris's basic idea. So everything that is there to be known about the product, Chris knows it, and he has to make sure that Mark knows all of it as well as soon as he leaves. As far as the organization is concerned, Chris is currently around the same level as me, if not a little higher. And what I have to do as an operations manager is make sure that the manufacturing goes on smoothly, and I have a lot of people who are working under me. At the same time, Chris will be the one who usually handles the technical aspects as far as the design is concerned, and he ensures that all of this works well together, including the operations. When Mark comes in, he probably will not be at the same level right off the bat, but he will be in charge of all the technical aspects, and then later we will assess as to whether he can actually handle the managerial roles as well. And till then, I will be managing his day to day, and he will be officially reporting to Dusty. Yeah.
Okay. And so maybe you can also touch a little bit upon the future hiring and firing process, such as whether or not we need non-competes or whether or not.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we will be having a non-compete. I think the contract has already been signed by Mark, and we will be having a non-compete with him for 2 years after, if at all, he leaves, and he will not be competing with us for 2 years at least. And as far as Chris is concerned, he's not going to be competing with us by starting a new company, but he will be working for a stable company that is already established and it is big enough for supporting him and his family.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and so why don't we let Susan talk a little bit about the financials as to what compensation we're going to give to these two guys and how the company looks financially as well.
Thank you, Dusty. As the CFO, I'm more concerned about the financial situations we are in when this change of management happens. So let's talk about numbers. Chris right now is making $80K a year. He owns 15% of the company. And we thank him for his service, but he has to own less of the company so we can distribute other shares to other investors. What we agreed on is he will sell 10% of his equity back to the company. He will remain 5%. He will remain to be a minority owner. And also he agreed on not to sell his shares until we sold the company or went public. As for the voting rights, he will transfer all the voting rights to Dusty here, and just show of good faith. He still trusts us, and we will serve in his best interest in the future of the company. And let's talk about Mark. Mark will be making $75K a year. We also agreed to offer him a 5% equity. That's 3-year vested. So in this way, we are able to preserve our cash flow, to invest our cash flow into the daily operations to grow our company, rather than to pay our employees. And the 5% equity is valued at $5 million on paper at this moment, which is well enough to get him motivated to join our company. The non-competes and the best options provide the fail-safe for our company if Mark is the wrong guy. And as for the short-term goal of this company, I believe this change of management does not affect our financial situations. We still has a pretty robust prospect in the future years to come. However, we do need a major round of financing in this this year. So we highly hope you guys will place your faith in us to invest another $10 million for 10% of the company, and I'm sure we will not fail you. Thank you.
Yep, and to wrap up everything, I want to talk a little bit about the short-term goal of the entire company and also the long-term goal. The short-term goal is to ensure that we have enough cash so that we can continue to operate. Now the challenge is that in order to get this cash, we need to prove that our technology actually works. And so that's where Mark comes in, right? He brings the technology expertise that's going to push our product to kind of the finish line of where we need to be in order to attract these VCs. And so with that being said, we also have a long-term goal. We want to have a technology that we can potentially license to big players. And so in this return, we can also get a bit of cash, and so we can be cash positive. And in addition, if we see the opportunity to sell the company as an exit strategy, we can also do that with some of the big players that I mentioned earlier. So with that being said, that concludes our meeting. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we hope to continue to do business with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.